balls. Ball sack.
I want to go bust something up.
Oh, she's gonna bust me, all right.
Let's keep it going.
I mean, like, the range is like, it's kind of big.
Superfluous will be banished from paradise.
My turn. Taste this.
Yeah, see, look which ones, how far her range is, like, when she's shooting. So you like my team right now? I feel so cool right now. I feel amazing. I actually feel awesome. Considering that there's no OL, maybe I misplayed Alice this time around. Otherwise this would have been, see, because Dorothy did the same damage, same with Laplace, and same with Privity, so it's just me playing worse. Yeah, because otherwise this would have been faster. I think I just misplayed my Alice. Yeah, Guilty did 2 times damage. Because everyone else is roughly the same. This also kind of shows how useless defense down is. Yeah, it actually does. This actually shows how useless defense down is. Because like Dorothy did more damage with the Nihilister, who doesn't really provide anything else other than DPS. Similar damage distribution, right? But the difference is Rupee buffs everyone else, so Rupee's run was faster than Nihilister's run. So Rupee is better than Nihilister on the boss situation too. Yeah, we expected, no, but then also, I mean, okay, can we agree that Nihilister is a good unit for this boss, right? There's piercing effects that we could do, so like I would imagine she should do fine on it. But maybe because I also destroyed the body parts fast on Alice and Laplace, that perhaps Nihilister is also not that great because of it. Yeah, maybe with the higher HP we will see more damage coming from Nihilister also. Oh yeah, I think I tested all possible ones. I mean, Dala's the only other one that I could test, but I think it's enough. Rupee, Guilty, Nihilister, and Novel. Yeah, Nihilister did way less damage. What's the difference here? My match will pop up more. Oh, because Guilty's stealing Maxwell's buff. No, Guilty's stealing Maxwell's buff, so Max will pop off more here. Otherwise, like Privity did the same, Dorothy yeah, plus or minus the same. Probably that's like 1 brand damage difference. I guess you wouldn't, I mean, just don't use Guilty with this team, obviously. Let's try Rupee. Yeah, all of these burst 2s are actually roughly the same investment, by the way. Alright boys, let's see. Let's use Nihilister. Let's see how good she is. So yeah, here's the thing, right? Well, I mean, they're equally useless where I'm stuck at. Let me try to push my CP to the point where I'm not getting severely one shot. But obviously, as you can see, right, the initial problem right now is, see, I have 250k CP right now with Zenny, and I was still getting destroyed. But the biggest thing is, if I use Nihilister, I only have 243k. How's Nihilister? Don't expect a lot from her right now. Like, her bossing capability is kind of lacking, because comparatively she doesn't really provide any buffs, so she's just providing DPS. But her DPS is just up to the level of Rupee, not guilty tier. And if you want to use her, she has a full charge, so it's kind of iffy to manual her. Rather use someone else to manual rather than her. But maybe you could line up like the mobs, and then if you put her in campaign, now you start encountering the problem of she doesn't have a lot of dupes, she doesn't have a lot of copies, so you need a lot more investment in her. But you're more hesitant to use her in campaign because, well, you're not skilling her up, because you're probably just gonna use her on campaign, and it's probably better to skill up like a DPS unit that you can use also on bossing. So her, in terms of skill level, she's not getting a lot of investment in skill level. And in terms of gear, well, you're just she's a pilgrim attacker. She's eating up the spots for Snow White, for Modernia, for Scarlet. And so, you know, you're like, when are you gonna give her she's like the fourth option for pilgrim attacker really right now. And so her innate stats are just going to be way lower. You're not skilling her up because, you know, you don't want to use her on bosses, and you're not really giving her overload gear because, well, there's a lot more other pilgrim attackers that is eating up. And then another thing is, you can't really get a lot of dupes on her, so you know, you might have more copies of Senti, and you can use silver tickets to buy copies of Senti, which will help you boost up your affection rate, which will give more stats. And also, you know, just having more dupes is more CP. So with all those things considered, you don't have dupes, you don't have overload gears, unless you really want her, sure, or you're really lucky that you have like a fourth set or whatever. And then you're not skilling her up because she's not going to be useful in bosses for Union Raid. Now like her CP is tanking because you're just not investing in her, or you don't want to invest in her too much. Now if your burst 2 is all 0 copies, also maybe you've been using Senti in 0 copies, then maybe I guess you'll, you know, she's a little bit on par, will be on par with her. But point being is, there's just a lot of hesitation in terms of like investing in her right now. Maybe later down the road, but that's specifically for campaign, right? Like for pushing campaign. And in campaign, you know how much like CP is really recommended, so you can't use her for bosses, you can't use her for campaign. The main thing right now is Pilgrim Tower, I guess. So now you can burst every 20 seconds with Dorothy and Nihilister. So, or 15 seconds because Dorothy has a cooldown reduction, 17 seconds, whatever it is. But yeah, that's the main reason why right now Nihilister is a little bit overwhelming. She's a little bit underwhelming, but maybe we will see her be better later down the road when we start getting free duplicates for, or not free duplicates, but when we start buying duplicates in her, maybe in like, you know, 2030, 5 years later, 6 years later, and 10 years later.